Personal responsibility is the foundation of growth because it places the power of change directly into your hands. When you accept full ownership of your life, you stop waiting for others to fix what you refuse to face. Most people spend their time pointing fingers at their circumstances, their parents, their environment, their luck. But growth begins when you realize that blame is a form of surrender. Taking responsibility doesn't mean everything is your fault. It means you recognize that everything is your opportunity. The moment you decide that no one owes you anything and that your future depends on what you build, you start to operate from a position of power rather than pity. The reason many people stay stuck is because they rely on external motivation to push them forward. They wait for support for a sign or for someone to believe in them before they act. But life doesn't reward those who wait. It rewards those who move. Personal responsibility is about creating your own momentum. It's waking up each morning and saying, if I want change, I must create it. If I want better, I must become better. You stop waiting for the perfect conditions because you understand that conditions don't create success. Commitment does. When you accept responsibility, you stop negotiating with excuses. You no longer give power to the story that you're not ready or not lucky. You understand that your circumstances might not be your choice, but your response to them always is. Every successful person started from a place of uncertainty, but they made a decision to take ownership of their path. They refused to let their history dictate their destiny. They didn't ask for an easier route. They developed stronger habits. Personal responsibility changes how you see challenges. Instead of viewing obstacles as setbacks, you begin to see them as opportunities for refinement. Growth is never born in comfort. It's built through resistance. Every obstacle becomes a mirror reflecting how badly you want it. When you stop blaming, you start building. When you stop complaining, you start creating. Taking responsibility transforms pain into purpose and setbacks into stepping stones. You also begin to recognize the connection between your daily actions and your long-term results. Personal responsibility teaches you that what you do consistently shapes who you become permanently. Every habit is either a seed for success or a seed for stagnation. Growth requires planting the right seeds, discipline, learning, focus, and persistence. You stop expecting instant results because you understand that every harvest takes time, and the effort you put in today determines what you'll reap tomorrow. When you live with responsibility, you take control of your emotions as well. You stop reacting to every situation with frustration or self-pity and instead respond with strategy and awareness. You understand that emotional maturity is a key part of personal growth. You don't let temporary feelings dictate permanent decisions. You rise above mood and operate from mission. You stop seeking sympathy and start seeking strength because you know no one is coming to make it easier. You must become stronger. Accepting responsibility also reshapes your relationship with failure. Instead of seeing failure as proof that you're not good enough, you see it as proof that you're growing. You stop fearing mistakes because you realize they are part of the process. Every misstep teaches you something essential about your next move. Responsibility means taking accountability for your failures without shame and learning from them without quitting. It's the courage to say, I can fix this, instead of, it's not my fault. This mindset creates self-reliance and inner confidence. You begin to trust yourself because you've proven that you can depend on your own consistency. You don't need constant validation from others because you're focused on becoming someone you can respect. When you take responsibility for your thoughts, actions, and decisions, you stop being a victim of circumstance and start being a creator of destiny. That's when your confidence becomes unshakable because it's built on evidence, not emotion. Over time, personal responsibility becomes your identity. You stop seeking external permission to grow. You stop waiting for motivation because you've built momentum. You stop hoping for opportunities because you're too busy creating them. You stop chasing results and start embodying the discipline that guarantees them. You understand that no one can push you harder than you push yourself because you've made the decision to take full control of your evolution. The more responsibility you take, the freer you become. Freedom doesn't come from ease. It comes from ownership. When you own your choices, your habits, your mindset, and your path, you break free from the illusion that someone else holds the key to your future. You no longer wait for rescue because you've learned that true power begins the moment you take responsibility for everything within your reach. Growth requires obsession and sacrifice because transformation doesn't happen through casual effort. You cannot become great by being half interested in your potential. Growth demands an inner fire that consumes everything that doesn't serve your future. It's not about working harder for a short burst of time. It's about committing your entire being to the process of becoming someone you've never been before. When you're obsessed with growth, you don't need reminders or motivation. You move with purpose. Every decision, every thought, every hour of your day starts aligning with your vision because you've made growth your priority instead of your option. Obsession with growth means you stop chasing entertainment and start chasing elevation. You understand that the time you waste scrolling, complaining, or waiting is time stolen from your destiny. Most people don't fail because they're incapable. They fail because they're distracted. Growth requires a level of focus so deep that you begin to outgrow environments that used to entertain you. The music changes. The conversations shift. The people you once felt comfortable around start feeling distant, not because they've changed, but because you have. Sacrifice becomes the price you willingly pay to reach the next level. You begin to trade comfort for consistency, validation for vision, and pleasure for purpose. You start waking up earlier, studying more, thinking deeper, and guarding your energy like it's sacred currency. Growth costs you sleep, convenience, and sometimes connection, but it gives you mastery, clarity, and confidence. It demands that you say no to the things that slow you down, even if those things once felt good. Because when you're obsessed with becoming more, good enough becomes your greatest enemy. Every day becomes a test of how serious you are about your transformation. You'll face temptation to go back to old habits, old thinking, old environments that no longer align with where you're going. The average person gives in when it gets uncomfortable, but the obsessed one leans in harder. The obsessed one understands that pain is not punishment. It's proof that you're stretching beyond limitation. Growth doesn't ask if you're ready, it asks if you're willing to keep going when it stops feeling easy. Being obsessed with growth means you live with intention. You stop moving through life passively and start measuring every action against your purpose. You stop wasting time wishing and start investing time building. You become aware of how you speak, what you think, and who you listen to because you understand that every input influences your outcome. Your life becomes a reflection of what you consistently feed your mind and soul. When you're serious about growth, you don't let negativity, laziness, or mediocrity take root inside you. Sacrifice also means letting go of people who can't grow with you. It doesn't mean you stop loving them. It means you stop limiting yourself to make them comfortable. Growth often separates you from the familiar, and that separation can be painful. But every level requires a new version of you, and sometimes that version cannot exist in your old environment. You learn to be okay with being misunderstood, because people who haven't chosen growth will always question your intensity. They won't understand why you've changed your habits, your circle, or your mindset, but that's the cost of evolution. Obsession with growth teaches you to love the process more than the outcome. You stop chasing quick results because you understand that real transformation is built in silence, in discipline, and in daily decisions that nobody sees. It's in the late nights when you're still learning, in the quiet mornings when you're still showing up, and in the moments when you keep going despite not seeing results yet. You start finding peace in progress, knowing that every small step compounds into something powerful. The more you grow, the more you realize how much growth is left. The deeper you go into personal development, the more layers of potential you uncover. Obsession becomes a cycle of renewal. You're constantly improving, learning, and refining who you are. You no longer settle for being slightly better. You want to become unrecognizable compared to who you used to be. That's what obsession does. It transforms growth from an activity into an identity. Growth demands that you build discipline stronger than your emotions. Some days you won't feel motivated. Some days your vision will feel too far away. But the obsessed person doesn't quit when it's hard. They use difficulty as fuel. They understand that discipline is not punishment. It's protection for their destiny. The stronger your discipline, the faster your transformation. The moment you realize that feelings are temporary, but results are permanent, you stop letting comfort control your consistency. When you become obsessed with growth, sacrifice no longer feels like loss, it feels like liberation. You stop clinging to what drains you because you're too focused on what drives you. Every day becomes a chance to prove that you are willing to pay the price success demands. You stop envying the great and start embodying the mindset that creates greatness. You start living as if your future depends on what you do now, because deep down you know it does. Comfort is the enemy of progress because it keeps you chained to what feels safe while robbing you of what could make you powerful. The human mind loves familiarity. It seeks patterns, predictability, and ease. But everything extraordinary lives outside the boundary of what feels comfortable. The people who achieve greatness are not necessarily smarter or luckier. They are simply willing to step into discomfort while others run from it. Comfort whispers, "You're fine where you are," but progress shouts, "You were made for more." The battle between the two determines whether you rise or remain the same. Comfort feels good in the moment, but it costs you growth in the long run. When you choose comfort repeatedly, you start building walls around your potential. You avoid challenges that could stretch you. You ignore opportunities that require risk, and you settle for routines that make you feel secure but stagnant. Progress, on the other hand, is uncomfortable by design. It forces you to face your fears, to confront your weaknesses, and to unlearn everything that's keeping you small. Every time you choose progress over comfort, you evolve into a stronger version of yourself. Growth doesn't happen in the spaces where everything feels easy. It happens when you're stretched, when you're challenged, when you're doing things that scare you. The discomfort you feel in those moments is a sign that transformation is happening. The gym hurts before you get strong. Speaking up feels awkward before you gain confidence. Taking risks feels terrifying before it becomes rewarding. Comfort keeps you the same. Discomfort creates your next level. The pain you avoid today is the potential you delay tomorrow. The most dangerous thing about comfort is that it doesn't look like a trap. It disguises itself as peace, stability, and satisfaction. It tells you that you've done enough, that you deserve to rest, that there's no need to push further. And while rest has its place, comfort often overstays its welcome. It convinces you to settle for good enough when greatness is still available. Many people fail not because they couldn't succeed, but because they got too comfortable surviving when they were meant to thrive. When you get addicted to comfort, you begin to fear the unknown. You hesitate to take new opportunities because they might require you to change. You start protecting your current identity instead of pursuing your future one. But the truth is, you cannot discover new strength without entering new struggle. Comfort feels like safety, but it's really stagnation in disguise. Progress begins when you stop seeking comfort and start seeking growth, even when it feels uncertain or inconvenient. To break free from comfort, you must learn to reframe discomfort as evidence of expansion. When something feels difficult, instead of retreating, ask yourself what it's trying to teach you. Every challenge carries a lesson, and every lesson builds your capacity for more. The people who achieve extraordinary results are not immune to fear or struggle. They've simply trained themselves to move through it. They know that comfort won't protect their potential, it will poison it. Comfort is also a mindset that limits how far you see. It convinces you to play small, to think small, to dream within the boundaries of what's familiar. You start creating goals that fit inside your comfort zone instead of goals that require you to grow beyond it. True progress demands vision that scares you a little and excites you a lot. If your dreams don't challenge your comfort, they're not dreams. They're distractions designed to keep you from becoming who you were meant to be. Every time you choose to push past your comfort zone, you build resilience. You start to realize that you're capable of handling far more than you thought. The things that once intimidated you become normal, and what used to scare you becomes your new standard. That's the beauty of progress. It expands your limits until the impossible becomes possible. Discomfort isn't punishment, it's preparation for the next version of you. When you stop being ruled by comfort, you start making decisions that align with your higher self, not your current state. You stop doing what feels good now and start doing what will make you proud later. You begin to replace laziness with learning, fear with faith, hesitation with action. The process may be painful, but it's also purifying. It burns away weakness, excuses, and mediocrity, leaving only discipline and determination. Comfort may offer temporary relief, but it will never offer transformation. Every time you choose the easy path, you trade potential for pleasure. Every time you avoid difficulty, you delay destiny. Growth asks you to walk through the fire, not around it. The moment you stop chasing comfort and start chasing challenge, life begins to open in ways you never imagined. That's where progress lies, in the space between fear and courage, between uncertainty and belief, between what you are and what you could become. Be the hero of your own story, because no one else can live your life for you. No one else can carry your dreams, and no one else can fight your battles. You were not created to sit on the sidelines, waiting for someone to hand you direction or validation. The power you're searching for is already within you, buried beneath layers of doubt and hesitation. Being the hero of your own story means you take control of your narrative. It means you stop letting your past define you and start deciding who you're becoming. Every hero begins with a decision to rise, to face the struggle, and to rewrite what was meant to break them. When you decide to be your own hero, you stop living in the shadow of dependency. You no longer wait for encouragement from others to take action, because you understand that if you always need someone to push you, you'll never become unstoppable. Heroes act even when no one believes in them. They don't wait for applause or approval. They move because their mission matters more than their comfort. You learn that the world doesn't owe you understanding, and that's okay, because heroes don't need validation. They need vision. Being your own hero means taking ownership of your pain and using it as fuel. Every disappointment, every heartbreak, every failure becomes part of your training. You stop seeing pain as punishment and start seeing it as preparation. Heroes aren't born in ease. They're forged in adversity. The moments that hurt the most are often the moments that mold you into someone unbreakable. Instead of hiding from struggle, you face it with the mindset that every challenge is shaping your strength for something greater ahead. Heroes don't wait for perfect timing, they create it. You stop saying, "I'll start when I feel ready," and begin now, because you understand that readiness is a myth. Waiting for everything to align is another way fear disguises itself. You act in faith, knowing that clarity comes through movement, not hesitation. Every step you take forward, no matter how uncertain, builds momentum. Heroes understand that progress is not about perfection. It's about persistence. Being the hero of your story requires you to silence the victim mentality. You stop blaming the world, your upbringing, or your circumstances, and instead you ask, what can I do with what I have? That shift in mindset changes everything. It turns powerlessness into purpose. You stop focusing on what you can't control and start mastering what you can, your effort, your habits, your focus, your decisions. Heroes don't make excuses, they make adjustments. They adapt, they learn, and they keep moving forward. When you become the hero of your story, you begin to walk with self-respect. You no longer chase after people to see your value, because you've learned to validate yourself through your actions. You build trust in yourself by keeping promises to yourself. Each time you follow through, your confidence grows stronger. You start living by principle, not pressure. You stop seeking to impress and start aiming to impact. Heroes understand that greatness doesn't come from being liked. It comes from being consistent. Being the hero also means taking full responsibility for your growth. You stop hoping someone will guide you step by step and start becoming your own mentor. You read, you study, you learn, and you apply. You surround yourself with wisdom, even if you have to search for it alone. You stop expecting shortcuts because you understand that every level requires its own lessons. Heroes don't avoid learning, they chase it. They know that the more they grow, the stronger their impact becomes. You also start to embrace solitude because every hero has seasons of isolation. It's in the quiet moments that you hear